This episode of Profiles in Risk is sponsored by Zywave. Insurers, brokers, and agencies are facing escalating risk and rising complexity. Only Zywave delivers a performance multiplier, equipping you with the tools to get risk right, unlock efficiency, and scale at new speeds. Find out more at 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀.com.
Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Mitch Matthews, founder and CEO at Matthews Training International, and the fellow Iowan, fellow 515, who did not go to the wrong Iowa school, so we're all good there. So
yeah. We can get along. We can have this conversation, right?
Exactly. So, Mitch, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So we're recording September 25th. So I'm guessing Des Moines is enjoying its 1 week of nice fall weather.
That's exactly right. Well, it's what we call a fake fall, in that we had fall weather. The trees have definitely started to change color, as you remember, and it's absolutely beautiful. But then in regular Iowa fashion, we're back up to almost 90 degrees today. It almost feels like July again. So we do that. Iowa just flirts with you and messes with you. And next week, we're supposed to have getting back to sweatshirts and football weather and all of that. So Iowa messes with you, as you well know.
Then, by the third week of October, you get snow and it's there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Absolutely. So we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator speech. So what is Matthews Training International and the Dream Think Do podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of the easiest way to describe what we do is we are a training organization with a media arm. So we do training. I do speaking and workshops, but then we also do one-on-one success coaching and executive coaching and leadership coaching, work with a lot of leaders within the insurance world. And then we have a media arm, like you mentioned. I have a couple of podcasts, but my most popular one is called Dream Think Do. And it is truly designed to help people to dream bigger, think better, and do more. By talking with people, talking through their stories, talking about the strategies that come from those stories. And it's been an amazing journey. As you well know, one of the blessings of a podcast is it allows you to have interesting conversations that you might not normally get to have. And I've gotten to talk with Oscar winners, Olympians, New York Times bestsellers, just a lot of people, a lot of different walks of life, to just find out what does it take to dream bigger, think better, and do more of what you're put on the planet to do. So that's been a project that we started back in 2016, and something that, when it started, I know you've got like 700 episodes or something. It's crazy. That's amazing. But I know when I started the podcast, most people weren't even sure what podcasts were or why they should listen to them. Right now, it's really become a natural part of most people's lives, and I'm grateful for that and glad we both get to do it.
Fantastic. So look at your LinkedIn. It looks like you did some sales.
Yep.
Pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, I sold drugs legally.
How did you end up on the training and coaching side?
Absolutely. It's a great story in that I grew up being very excited. Well, initially, I was almost obsessed with bicycles. That was my thing growing up in a small town in Iowa. I rode my bike everywhere. I love bicycles. And there was one bike shop in town. We lived in this small town that looked like it was in a Hallmark Christmas movie. So it had the, town square with the courthouse in the middle of it and little shops all around it. But the bike shop wasn't on the square. We were 2 blocks off the square in this hole in the wall building that was next to a Goodwill and around the corner from the only strip club in town. So it was a really great place to hang out for a teenager. But I was so in love with bikes. I basically spent every day of my summer my 12th year in that bike shop, doing anything and everything I could to just hang out and not be arrested for loitering. And at the end of that summer, I'm grateful to say the owner of that bike shop and his wife hired me instead of having me arrested, which I'm very grateful for. And so what's interesting about that is that at 14, I attended my first sales school. I went to a bicycle sales training for what wound up being a bunch of middle-aged bike shop owners and one 14-year-old. But I just fell in love with the idea. Like, I didn't enjoy school all that much. I was not a good student, Tony. But this guy walks in the room and starts talking to us about sales. And, you know, it was kind of like a classroom, but it was different than anything I'd ever experienced. He was asking for our input. He was having us try things out. I mean, I loved it. And I thought, what is this guy doing? So at a very young age, I decided that hook was set. And I'm like, I want to figure out how to do that. And so I actually started selling training even when I was in college. That was something that helped me to get through college. Was I sold training, sales training, to small retail stores, mom and pop shops, kind of doing a version of what this guy had done for me, you know, a few years before. And so when I graduated from the University of Northern Iowa, the other good school in Iowa, I knew that I probably didn't have enough knowledge and experience to have my own company at that point. So I went into business to business sales, a couple of years of equipment sales, which is not glamorous, but boy, does it teach you, the process. And then I got into pharmaceutical sales, had some success with that. Actually was in a territory in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. So I had the northern half of the Louisiana Purchase. Really successful, had great experiences. You know, I always said that, like, my territory was God's country, which was absolutely fantastic. But I did some kind of unique things that really got the attention of home office, which was based in Chicago. So they promoted me, and I was I helped to manage a training department of a $2 billion pharmaceutical company, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. But then I took a promotion, and I knew within a couple of days that it was a good job, but a bad fit. And within a couple of days of being in this promotion, my soul just started to die. And I found that I really missed the things that I'd been able to do in corporate training, the coaching and the speaking and the developing people and all of those things, and realized with this position I had taken, there was going to be none of that. And so I started to experiment with doing some of that on the side. So I launched a coaching and speaking business on the side of this bad fit job. And I thought I was probably going to have to do both for about 5 years or longer, but was able to kind of figure out how to do that and make that work. And so what I thought was going to be 5 years turned into 5 months, and launched that as a full-time business. And we've been doing that ever since.
Fantastic. You mentioned before we started recording that largely because of being in Iowa at that time, the first 10 years did a lot of work for insurance organizations.
Yep, absolutely. And that it's what's amazing about Des Moines. I grew up in this small town in Iowa, 30 miles from Des Moines, not really aware that how much of, Des Moines is a hub, as you well know, for the insurance the industry. And to just see all of these, great companies that are either based here or have, significant offices here, and just incredible innovation and all of that. And one of the other things that I think fueled by that foundation of insurance and, kind of industry and those types of things is we also have a real entrepreneurial spirit in Des Moines. So they call it the, I don't know if you've ever heard it, but the Silicon Prairie, and as opposed to the Silicon Valley. And we have a lot of entrepreneurship here too. And they really, the insurance and the entrepreneurial communities really support and encourage each other in big ways. So yeah, that was really the first 10 years of our business, getting to work primarily, locally and then regionally. Now, as I told you, a lot of our clients, most of our clients are outside the state. So I still do some work within the industry, but when we got our start, it was amazing to get to support and encourage and walk alongside a lot of leaders within the insurance industry.
All right. So the coaching side, you've
Yeah.
got success coaching and the coaching for coaches and speakers.
Yep.
So yeah, tell me about that success coaching.
Yeah. So it's interesting in that the success coaching title intrigues people a little bit. Some people will say they're an executive coach. Some people might say they're a life coach. Some people might say they're a business coach. And, there are elements of all of that in what I do. But where I define it as a success coach, what's interesting is a lot of people that tends to inspire one question, which is, well, what is success? Right? And I love that question because my question to that question is a question, and that is, well, how do you define success? Because that, as a coach, a success coach specifically, what I do primarily with my, executive level coaching clients is that's what we do first, is we define what does success mean for them? What does success mean for them in their current role? What would success mean for them in their career? What does success mean for them in life? And then we develop plans and strategies and new habits to help them to achieve what they've defined as success, which it sounds simple, but at the same time, it's rare. A lot of people are walking out what other people's have defined as success, whether it's their parents that told them what success is, or maybe what Instagram tells them as success, subconsciously or whatnot. But I always say if somebody can verbalize what success means to them, they're exponentially more likely to achieve it. And so that's what we do. We start that process of saying, okay, there are certain things, certain elements of success or achievement that are probably defined for you. They're, most of the people I work with are in leadership capacity, so they have teams. They have goals that are assigned by their organization, and that's great. So we get clear on those. But to say, okay, how do you want to lead? How do you want to live? What does success look like in that? And it's a really powerful process. And again, it's simple, but it's rare.
All right. And generally, how long do you work with people?
It really can vary. I have coaching packages that range from 3 months to a year. Most of my folks I work with for a minimum of a year. Some I work with continually for years. I have one CEO that I've worked with for the last 4 years, and we did that work on the front end to define what success looked like for him. But what happens in life, and especially in leadership, is that there are certain things that can change in your organization, within your industry, within the global economy, even. Those things will change and sometimes impact how we define success. But oftentimes certain things stay the same. And so what I find with my clients is that, on average, I work with them for about a year, but for some, they're like, let's just keep this going because they've had so much success. They just want, like, if this is part of what has helped them achieve success, why not keep going?
All right. So the newest piece, if I understand correctly, authority bridge.
Yeah.
What is authority?
So yeah, the authority bridge. So what's interesting is that in 2002 is when we officially launched my own coaching business and speaking business, our training company. And within about a few years, in 2006, a lot of other coaches and speakers started to take notice of what we were doing. Large coaching organizations actually asked me to sit on their board, things like that. And people started to say, how are you doing this? And so we started to do little boutique trainings to help people grow their businesses and understand how to build a profitable and sustainable business, whether it's coaching or speaking. And we continued to do that, brought that online in 2011, and we've been able to help thousands of people that way, which is great. But in the last couple of years, one of the kind of newest phenomenons and things I'm most excited about because of the results we're seeing is something we call the authority bridge. And that is working alongside people who have had success. Oftentimes they're leaders. They have a track record of success. It doesn't have to be, they certainly don't have to be a household name by any means. But what we do is we walk alongside them and equip them to actually add coaching and speaking on the side of what they do. I always say it's helping you build a business without blowing up your life. And we walk them through exactly what we call the six-figure sequence, which is a step-by-step process that allows you to very simply, very ethically, very professionally add coaching and speaking to the side of what you do, to be able to clearly define what it is you offer, to be able to boundary that and sell that in a way that you can be proud of, a way that your organization can also know, you're still getting your job done, you're still doing your thing. But it's also one of those things that really allows somebody to build something that they own. And for some people, they just have it as a side business. It's something that, for many, it's helped them to bring in extra $50,000, sometimes $100,000. I never, I'm not one of the mansions and Maseratis by Friday kind of guys, but we've had people be very successful with this monetarily. But I would say in many ways, for a lot of folks, it's more the satisfaction they feel to do something new, to have something they own, to have something that's truly their fingerprint, right? So often leaders, they're walking out and leading teams that are, walking out and achieving their organization's objectives. And that's powerful. That's a good thing for a leader to do. But it's a different experience entirely when you get to do that for yourself and with people that you're really passionate about and that type of thing. So a lot of the folks that we work with the Authority Bridge, we take them through a 3-step process. And for some, they wind up building it and launching it on the side, and they keep it as something on the side. And for some, they wind up launching and then wind up doing it full time, overtime, as they want to. It's been a beautiful thing to see. Some people use it, mid-career, and a lot of people are using it as their kind of last 5 years in their career to be able to then launch into that in a semi-retirement sort of way, so that, they can really step into retirement with even more purpose and more momentum and excitement.
Right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Mitch, thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely. It's great to be on the show. I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're doing an important thing here. It's great.
Thank you. I have a ton of fun doing it.
I bet. It's obvious. That makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Thank you.